right, we're doing episode 1 of the
Happy Pills Jiu-jitsu
BAM podcast.
I was so stoned when I came up with that.
Yeah, we had a few names for it, right? Did we? What else did we come up with?
I think a podcast name is like it's one of like the weird little tics I have during the day.
Sure.
Even today, I was like, I was trying to come up with something in a variation of like extrapolate that, or I want to extrapolate that, or let's extrapolate that. It's like just generally the way I have discussions, and you've noticed where it's like I'm always like, okay, what's like? There's more to this. Like, let's completely break this down because like we're leaving a lot of meat on the bone.
Yeah.
So I was thinking like I want to extrapolate that out.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So yeah. I can't remember anything specific.
But I knew, we like had talked about this for a long time, man. We wanted to like have this podcast, or at least just sit and have a conversation. And then the best format I think we came up with was like having conversations on a drive somewhere, because we always end up in a car fucking together,
right?
Like towards a jiu-jitsu trip. So right now we're on our way to Camrose because you've been asked to take over a class.
I guess a guest teaching spot would be kind of the way to do it. A massive private. Basically I've been doing privates with this dude Ryan up from Camrose. He'll drive, but it's probably an hour and a half drive into where I train out of in Edmonton. And then he's just been coming in to do privates at like lunch and stuff, so I told him like I'd be down to like come out to him if my schedule would allow on certain days, if that would work out with him. And then he was like, hey, do you want to come by and teach a class, because he runs the gym out there. And I was like, well, I've been not training for like 3 weeks, so sure, I'll go and teach, why not?
Yeah, right. Jeez. Yeah.
Coming in ice cold out of the bed.
I'm retired, but yeah. It's,
I've been a complete fat ass lately, eating nothing but fucking McDonald's and donair.
But speaking of retirement, we had a little announcement before the last competition you had. I think it was actually a little bit surprising to some people to hear that you were going to take a break from an indefinite break, it seemed like. Because I don't know if you're like, I don't know, man. Like, I know you're always king of the comeback at some point.
Brett Favre.
So,
I'm Brett Favre retired. You call it that. I'm Brett Favre retired.
So I know
I'll
when
watch some dick pics to reporters and
I know
hang
when
out for a minute.
yeah, for sure, man. I know when I read it, I was like, okay, there's some definite like for sure behind this, but I could see a little bit of a comeback here now. So yeah, you decided to take a break from local competition, but you're not necessarily done with the competitions.
Yes, much like everything that I do, it's very convoluted. So, for those that don't know me, whoever's watching this, I've been competing as seriously as possible for probably just under 7 years now in jiu-jitsu. Before that, I played a bunch of beer league sports for probably 5 years post high school, and then high school I was competitive in basketball, football, and all through my teenage years and childhood it was, you name the sport, I played it. I curled for like 3 years. Like, when I did dance, I've done music competitions. It's been a cornerstone of my life, is just competing and
anything where somebody wins and loses.
If there's a
I'm signing up.
or a medal to be won, I want to be there.
I know what that's like.
I've stormed out of Cards Against Humanity parties before because the people playing didn't fucking play good. I've told girls I've dated that I won't come to their work softball thing because I will melt down and we will break up instantly. Like, that's absolutely a component to interacting with.
Do you want to break up?
Yeah.
Do you want to break up?
If there's a score, we're winning. If we're not gonna win, don't bother because you're gonna hate me. But yeah, it's just I'm 31 now, and everyone's like, it's kind of, you're young, or you're in your athletic prime. And I'm like, it's 31 city miles. It's 31 of playing through fractured ankles and wrists and separated shoulders and blown out knees, and it adds up over 20 years of playing sports like that.
Well, it really adds up when we decide we're not going to take care of all this shit as well. So I know I've been saying that I've had some shit happen to me since October that I've been looking at getting taken care of. I know I blew both my knees out at the end of last year.
You're really gonna feel it.
Yeah, right. That's gonna hurt, maybe. But I know I keep saying this. I'm gonna go to the doctor. I'm gonna go to the doctor, but I never do. And I know why I do it. You know, I don't want to hear what's wrong. You know, that I know there's something wrong. I just don't want to know that you know that there's something wrong. I don't. Exactly. Like, don't give me a name for it. You know, all it is a feeling right now. So
I know
feeling,
my left meniscus and I think the inside one is LCL are completely shot right now. I don't want to get an MRI to confirm that.
But you know, the feeling is manageable.
Yeah.
The pain is like it's
part of my day.
Exactly.
My knee hurting is part of my day.
So even though we're like competing and training, you know, that I don't know what it is about that. Like, I just don't want to hear a doctor say it.
Yeah.
That's all.
True.
You know, so. But in saying that, we both definitely need to get some stuff taken care of.
Yeah.
You more than I do, for sure.
Yeah.
But,
and just mentally, I know I was burned out because getting ready, there's a Calgary comp about 2 weeks ago. And it was an inaugural Noki Invitational for one of the big promotions in Alberta. And I could not mentally get up to that. At no point getting ready for that comp was I invested. Like, I played the part, I posted the videos, I was trash talking online with friends and shit. And I still am competitive, like, don't get me wrong, I wanted to compete and win. But there's an edge that comes with me competing that is kind of quickly disappearing recently.
Mm.
And I don't know, it's kind of a chicken or the mutated chicken that ends up being a chicken, which one came first. But I don't know if it's a lot of the therapy work I've been doing and kind of building better relationships and more fulfilling relationships with like friends and family and shit that hasn't given me that hunger for like, oh, if I win you'll love me. Like, the love I used to get from winning things is now coming from other places, and now that fire to be driven to go run stairs at 1 a.m. because if I win everyone will love me. I'm kind of looking around and be like, well, I don't need the love, so why am I running fucking stairs at 1:30 in the morning? Right? Like, kind of the reasons why I competed so hard are waning. So
I think also, if I could speak from my own point of view, you know, we did a lot of training together for especially for Worlds. We were training in the same camp together. Mm-hmm. And I know that personally, that whole training process really left me changed. Physically, mentally, spiritually, you know, I am now a different person because of all the, like, I'll just go ahead and say it, like, it was hell. Like, it was hell for 2 months. Especially hell when your training partner is fucking Mikey LaBella, kicking the fuck out of you every single day. But yeah, I mean, like, you have this training, you have these expectations out of yourself. You want to get to a point where you're, you know, tough mentally, tough physically, you know, you're ready for that competition, but you've actually done a really good job at breaking yourself in the process. You know, and like the whole experience for me, to be honest with you, I got out onto the mat and there was 2 minutes into my competition and my opponent is on top of me, and I remember thinking, is this it? You know, because I'd gone through so much worse in training and at the gym, and, you know, like, segueing back into what we were talking about, you know, medically just 2 seconds ago, you know, I feel like my body is forever changed after those comps, mm-hmm. You know, especially that one. And, you know, I know that, like, that kind of sucked the will out of me to do a lot of things that a lot of competitions that I wanted to do recently. Yeah. So,
well, I'll put it this way. What your experience was is kind of, that's the training camp experience. Mm. And I've been doing that for 7 years now.
Exactly.
So it's like there's a wear and tear. The analogy I've told you before, and I use it with a few people because I love it. As far as combat sports competition goes, damn it. We're getting stopped by some road worker because some semi-truck's broken down. It's fucking annoying. Anyway, I can't go anywhere because there's a sign in front of me, dipshit. The guy behind me's honking now too, so that's fun. Thank you, sir. You guys do a fine job. Anyway, the analogy I was using was with combat sports especially, but I think highly competitive athletics in general. What you're doing is you're going into this casino game, and you have to put up some kind of chips or playing collateral. The collateral we're putting up is our body. I'm saying that you need to take away pieces of my ability to function for you to win. And we all have a limit that we can lose.
Right.
And so you go to the table, and no matter how many times you're going to play, you can't leave with the same amount of chips or more chips. You simply take away from the other player.
Right.
It has nothing to do with acquiring chips for yourself. You're giving away and hoping you can give away more than the other person. We all come in with like a predetermined, I can lose 35, you can lose 70. So if you're going to be able to lose 70, my 35 will run out first if you play a proper match, kind of thing, right?
Right.
And so over time, your net worth that you're sitting at the table with falls lower and lower and lower and lower and lower, and you get to a point where it's like, how much more am I willing to put on the table? Like,
right.
I can't keep doing this. Like, I have a niece now that's 2.5.
Right.
First real baby that I've gotten to interact with, and like the idea of you hear it from everyone. It's like, I want to be able to play with my kids, and it's like, I'd like to be able to pick her up, or like if she picks up basketball, go be able to play with her in a park and like work drills with her in the summer, and like even if I have my own kids or get in a situation where I'm a dad or a stepdad or something, like being the active dad is a thing that I've aspired. Like if my life takes that route, that's something that I'm expecting myself to be.
Right.
And so, is paying $120 for IBJJF medal over and over and over and over and over worth not the tax I gotta pay is not being able to do that in 5 to 10 years.
Right. And then on top of that, you are not Brazilian. So
this is the week after Worlds 2018.
What a travesty that tournament was. Like,
I didn't even watch. I'm done. I'm done. I'm IBJJF.
You know what's even worse than the whole IBJJF thing, which we'll talk about here, but I felt that the media that really covers jiu-jitsu like most directly, they really dropped the ball in reporting what actually happened there. You know, from Nick Schrock's, like his own leg, he forced a reap on, and as he was going for a toe hold on Leandro Lo, and that forced reap of his own leg caused him to be disqualified. Now, you would think that that was like one of the crappier things that happened that weekend, but no.
Okay, no, the story that no one's talking about because of all the shitty rule. Like, everyone's so hung up on rules right now because all these new tournaments are popping up. Where it's like, you got EBI with sub only, you got the ACJJ or whatever out of Russia.
Right.
They got their own little rule set. You got the IBJJF, then you got ACC, and it's like, hey, what rule set are we going by? Explain to me this. It is a world championship. How do you win a world championship with a blown out shoulder where you can't compete to a fully functional, potentially one of the all-time greats on the other side, 11-time world champion? In what world do we recognize Leandro Lo getting that gold medal?
But Buchecha had the opportunity to give it to him.
Why is that okay? If these are the world championships and these are so highly regarded, that would be like right now in the finals. Let's say Golden State gets up 3-0 and they're up by 40 in the fourth quarter. Because essentially that's what Leandro Lo's coming in as if he has a blown shoulder. Like, you're done. So you either need to forfeit or you're gonna get fucking murdered by Buchecha. Those are the only two options you have in that match. In what world does Golden State say, actually, we're going to concede the championship to LeBron because you put together a really great year and we respect you?
Well, it happens every year in the IBJJF, bro, and you know that for sure. But
why is that acceptable?
No, I'm not arguing for acceptable, but this has been a thing for a long time. Like, can we all like, you know, maybe talk about Kyle Terra's record and how many times he's closed out his division? Like, you know, sure, you're a world champion, but if you keep meeting your own boys in the end, and you won't fight them, I don't know how that.
Well, the communities do.
I don't know how that adds up to necessarily being a world champion. Now,
the one
the
spot,
bigger
hold
problem,
on, the one spot I've loved it in, the
Right.
one spot I will forever love it in is when Homolo did it for Edwin. I think, or he did it. Who did he do? He did it for someone last year. I think it was Ed. Was it? I think it was Edwin. Najimi.
I think
Anyway, he closed out to give it to a student, and I'm like, that's kind of cool. Where it's like you're kind of passing.
Still, I don't like it. I still don't like it.
I can handle that one.
I can handle it, but I still don't like it because I think if you're gonna make it wrong for one, everything beyond that is wrong. Like you shouldn't be closing out. Nobody should be closing out divisions. Nobody should have the choice, or everyone should have the choice. So
yeah.
So as far as like Buchecha choosing Leandro to have that gold, I'm really not that torn about it. I think that's the least worrisome.
Drive me nuts.
For sure they do. I like, man.
Well, because to me, it's kind of what's happening in the UFC even, where a guy like Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor, they're like, yeah, don't give a fuck about the belt. Who cares about the belt? If the belt doesn't matter, then why does your pay get like doubled or tripled? Why do you get a cut of the pay-per-view now? Why
But that's something that the UFC has done itself, is delegitimize itself. But that's a whole
well, I'm just
conversation
saying
for another
in the
day.
concept of delegitimizing championships.
For sure. But I mean, like, I just don't agree at all with the closeouts.
No.
But if they are going to happen, I don't care who does them. That's not my problem, But the most egregious thing to me that happened that weekend was what happened, obviously, to Keenan Cornelius. Everybody's talking about it. Keenan had sunk in an Ezekiel choke or a collar sleeve choke from the rear and never got an advantage for it when the time ran out. Now, like, I'm just not going to go into the ins and outs of really what happened in the specific match, but I just know that there was a clear bias to anybody that was watching, who knew jiu-jitsu or didn't know jiu-jitsu, that if your last name, happened to end in a vowel, you're probably going to have a good time that day, So it was just, and the whole thing actually, like, it should spark debate. It should spark debate on what, the rule set is. Like, give me a clear, concise rule set to base my training off of, and I'm happy, But I don't think a lot of the refs even know clearly the interpretation of each rule, and some of them are actually based on opinion, which is even more frustrating. So
Keenan was right about that.
Yeah, so I mean, like, you can understand the level of frustration that comes from somebody who works obviously as hard as Keenan does, day in and day out. Like, as we were just talking about earlier, you're giving pieces of yourself for this idea or this dream of yours, and if you're Keenan, you can just look at his hands. His hands tell the story of how much
he's laughing because this dude that's behind me that was honking. He like sped up to try and get around me, but he didn't speed up enough, so now he has to duck back behind me. I feel like he's like screaming at his wife right now because he's so annoyed driving behind me.
This is probably one of those times where we're gonna have to put the jiu-jitsu to work.
Right. God, this is amazing.
But no, I just feel like
I should speed up more. Should I speed up? I want to speed up.
Poor guy. I just feel that if we're gonna have a rule set, it should be clear and concise. But moreover, like, you can't really deny at this point that we should be opening up the rules. Like, I felt like I was watching somebody try to dry their clothes.
I mean,
every time I watch the match, because you pull into 50-50 and you start rolling around.
Okay, so the problem with competition when it's an art form, because everyone forgets like the arts portion of everything. Like, there is a bit of a development of sequences. Like, it's much like music or anything else. Like, you see how everything's formed, you see how everyone interacts. It is very much an art form. As soon as you put a competition aspect to it, some portion of the population is going to be annoyed, and you're going to have loopholes around winning, whatever that is. Because as soon as you set a structure for rules, whether it's you pick the competition, I will show you a loophole in their rules. Like even, for example, okay, I get launched in EBI tomorrow. I go in against Gordon Ryan. What's my game plan? Don't get submitted, don't get submitted, don't get submitted, hope to win in overtime. So I'm still using the rule set. I don't care, like, because I can't make the money unless I win anyway. Odds are I'm not good enough to beat him straight up. So I need to now work the rules. And as soon as you have a rule structure, no matter what, I use EBI because it's my favorite tournament format, personally. But it's as soon as you set a structure of rules, there is a loophole involved in that, in finding a way to win to fit your game. And so that's kind of what's ended up happening, is the sport's grown so much that that old rule set almost is obsolete. And so it's because of that, you can use so many new techniques that weren't ever thought of when they made the rules, to then find the loophole in the strategy to fit your own game.
It's not necessarily that they weren't thought of, though, right? There is a stigma attached to being a leg locker. There is a stigma attached to, you know, going after the feet.
But even just knowledge of leg entanglements in 2018 versus whatever 1995,
Absolutely.
when the IBJJF started. Early 2000s is when it moved from Brazil here. It was 2004? What was it?
I'm not sure on that date.
Anyway, the rules were in before, so let's say mid-90s. What was happening in the mid-90s versus now? Like, you can go back and watch the black belt finals. Like, a lot of what Marcelo, when he was in his run, everyone was like, holy shit, this dude's so ahead of the curve, and he absolutely was. But a lot of that stuff is kind of fundamental entries for the existing game, especially like leg lock stuff. A lot of the single leg X guard, invert, like those kind of inversion sweeps out of that. Like, a lot of that stuff has been morphed into your Danaher / Lachlan Giles, Craig Jones kind of leg lock styles. And so you see, it's very easy to pinpoint like the evolution. But what you forget is, like, back then, what the rules that apply there make sense. You need to open, like essentially what you're saying is it needs to get opened up now.
Yeah.
But I have a hard time understanding people on things like this, the unwillingness to evolve.
Of course.
And I don't get why people are like that. Especially around like a sport or a game. Like, even, IBJJF switched the no-gi rules. Leave the gi alone, because it doesn't work too miserably for the gi. It makes a little more sense because you have so many more control options. But to score advantages for control in no-gi is like, you're kind of forcing the game to be something that it doesn't need to be.
Yeah. Well,
just entertainment-wise,
I think everybody that watched last weekend could probably agree on one thing, and it definitely that something needs to change.
Yeah.
Definitely something. So we'll probably end it here. I think this is a great first podcast, first attempt at doing this. Thank you for listening. Should anybody be watching out for anything that you're doing? You got
Catch me in a fast food line.
You got study halls on Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday at 8 at Complete. Anyone who wants to come down for study halls, feel free. Honestly, any day of the week at Complete, it's, in my opinion, the most talent per square foot in the province.
Okay, so let's give the sked then.
It's Monday, Wednesday, 6 and 7, 6 to 7, and then 7 at 8:30. Tuesday at 8, there's a gi class. Thursday at 8 is I do open mat study hall, so it's basically whatever your jiu-jitsu question is, come in, hang out, and do whatever. Like, if you want to flow, if you want to drill, if you want to bring me McDonald's, go for it. Like, it's all good right now, I'm chilling. Friday at 7, gi class. Saturday at noon, open mat, and then Sunday out at LSS in Sherwood Park, open mat at 11:30.
LSS is Little Sweatshop.
Yeah.
So, definitely come out, get some training in. I'll be working with Chad over the next couple of weeks, tightening up my seminar. I got a seminar tour coming up. I'm trying to promote adaptive grappling across Canada. So that seminar tour will start July 3rd in St. John's, Newfoundland. And it goes right across Canada. And I'm looking to finish hopefully in Nanaimo. I'm looking to release the last of my dates in the next week here. So stay tuned for that. But I've got some dates up as well for my Quebec and Ontario leg. Check out my Instagram for that. Deadweight JJ or Pete McGregor on Facebook, and check out my man Chaddy_Crackers. That's CHADDY_Crackers on Instagram, and Chadwick Roland on Facebook if you want to check them out. All right, thanks a lot, guys, for tuning in, and we'll check you on the next one.